Hi everybody, and welcome to my presentation with the first 15 rules of the League of Resident Theaters contract. I've invited an esteemed guest here with me today in order to help me present these rules. She's an incredible young woman who has many different skills, and I am proud to call her an inspiration and an idol. Introducing the one and only Queen of Christmas Cheer, Hilary Colazzo Abbott.
Thank you, Allie. Good afternoon, Stage Management class. I am so pleased to be here to present the first 15 rules of the LORT contract, and I hope you all are excited. Ethan, you should be more excited. Before we get started, I'm going to ask Allie to please distribute the summary that she has prepared for the class today. Colleen, I hope that you find this summary sheet up to your impeccable stage managerial standards. We begin our foray into LORT contract with the first rule, the actor's obligation to equity. This rule states that no theater will do anything or ask the actor to do anything that breaks any rules set out in the equity constitution and bylaws. Our second rule deals with agents. If a theater hires an agent through an agent who is not licensed by equity, the actor can get suspended. If a theater hires an actor without going through an agent, their agent does not receive a commission on the actor's employment. If an agent is working for a theater as a casting consultant, they can't represent an actor who is hired by the theater or take a commission. Agents can't take commissions from a chorus contract. Now on to our third rule,
Rules, regulations, and respect
about arbitration. Arbitration is a way of settling disputes without taking them to court. Any issue involving the contract between an actor or equity and a theater or LORT can be brought to arbitration. However, the issue must be first presented to a grievance committee. If this committee can't reach a solution, then the issue moves to arbitration. Both parties will acknowledge the arbitration as the sole remedy for the issue, and equity and LORT will equally pay the costs for the arbitration. Now, all you actors, listen up, because we're on to a very important rule for you, auditions. And these aren't just the little auditions. No, we're talking principal roles in the country's biggest theaters. All theaters hold auditions for its principal roles, and there are some specific auditions for equity actors. In a casting notice, theaters are required to state the understudy situation for all roles. Theaters must take the necessary steps to audition any disabled actors. During auditions and interviews, there must always be a person with casting authority there. Any personal information provided by the actor during the audition or interview process will only be used for casting purposes. All auditions and interviews should be done live, unless an important member of the casting team cannot be at auditions. If this is the case, an audition by an equity actor can be recorded as long as certain rules are followed. A theater is required to have at least one day of equity principal auditions, or EPAs, for all productions in their season, and an accompanist must be provided if there will be musical auditions. EPAs cannot happen after the first day of agent-invited auditions. No more than 3 LORT theaters can group together on one day of EPAs, and the auditions will happen during a span of 7 out of 9 hours each day. Equity hours must have up to 3 minutes for their audition. Callbacks are not to be held at the time of auditions. Theaters can submit casting notices to equity at least 2 weeks before auditions. These notices should detail as much information as possible about the season or specific show. They also have to state the date and time of the auditions. Theaters must hold 2 days of local auditions each contract year for local equity actors. Combined local auditions can be held by groups of equity theaters as long as equity members don't have to pay any fees to audition, unlike the combined auditions we attend. At least 50% of the audition slots are offered to equity members. Theaters are represented by people with casting authority during every equity audition, and casting notices are provided at least 2 weeks before the audition. There is no limit to the number of theaters that can be at these auditions. These auditions will be no less than 7 hours a day, and each audition slot will be at least 3 minutes long. When any equity auditions are held, there must be a room with chairs where actors can wait or warm up. All rooms must be properly lit, properly ventilated, and heated when necessary to at least 68 degrees Fahrenheit. Wow, it feels great in here. I'm ready to do my best work. Allie, what's the temperature in here?
68 degrees Fahrenheit.
This is perfect. There must be bathrooms, and the liability insurance must cover all equity actors. And now rule number 5, baggage. The physical kind, not the kind where you have a ton of emotional problems. A theater has to pay for the transportation of an actor's luggage while the actor is in their employ. The theater can choose the mode of shipment. They are responsible for getting the actor's baggage in and out of their living space. However, it is the actor's job to take care of their personal hand baggage, like purses. Next, we will discuss billing, because not every actor can get recognized like this. A theater is required to list the names of all actors under contract for a show in no particular order on a house board, either outside or in the lobby. Billings of principals must be clearly listed in their contracts. If a theater breaches the billing rules, Equity will notify the theater in writing and give them 7 business days to correct the issue. If the theater does not correct the error, they owe the actor more money. Rule number 7,
Rules, regulations, and respect.
concerns the binding effect of an agreement. Any arrangements that the theaters have with the casting consultants, agents, etc., do not give the theater permission to break their equity contract. All the rules laid in a contract must be followed not only by the signers, but also by anyone or anything that the signers control. The next rule is a fun one. It's about blacklisting. Blacklisting is like getting on a stage manager's bad side. You don't want to do it. Equity in all LORT theaters are pledged to prevent blacklisting. For this rule's purposes, blacklisting means the use of lists that state people who should not be employed for reasons that do not include their theatrical ability. If arbitration determines that a theater has blacklisted, they must pay the actor concerned the total salary he would have received during his employment, as well as whatever his successor will be paid. Now we move on to the breaches of contract. If a theater breaches an individual contract, fails to give an actor the correct contract, or breaks any equity rule, the actor can, with equity's permission, terminate his employment. If this happens, the theater is required to pay his full salary for the work he's already done, as well as any other money outlined in his contract. Our next rule is about the dream. That's right, the Great White Way. That's Broadway, in case you didn't know. If a LORT production starts in or moves to a theater in the Broadway district, they are required to follow the rules of the LORT production contract. Any LORT theater established in the Broadway district will work with Equity to determine the rules that the theater must follow. The 11th rule in the LORT handbook discusses claims. If an actor says that his contract has been breached, no receipt, waiver, release, or adjustment by him will be considered valid unless Equity deems it so in writing. If there is a claim like this, an actor must present it to Equity or the theater within 4 weeks of the breach occurring. Those of you who have worked with Garrett Hill or an equally sweaty actor will understand the need for many of the rules in our next category, clothing and costumes. Theaters are required to provide all clothing for actors except normal undergarments. All skin parts, such as tights, will be new when given to the actor. All shoes must fit well. If they are dance shoes, they must be new, and if they are pedestrian shoes, they must be clean and in good shape. The theater must provide all makeup with the exception of ordinary makeup. An actor cannot rent any costume piece to a theater unless it is specifically stated in his contract. All costumes must be cleaned whenever necessary. Skin parts will be cleaned after each performance. Any costume pieces that get sweaty will be dry for each performance. A theater cannot ask an actor to change his hair color for a show unless he agrees to it in writing, but the theater is required to pay for the initial coloring as well as any upkeep during the run of the show. The same is true for any haircut or style. If an actor wears a hairpiece or a wig, it will be clean and properly fitted when first given to the actor. After that, it must be cleaned at least once every 24 performances. Rule number 13 deals with the company categories, what many of us know as a tier system. Whether a theater is a B+, B, C, or D company is determined by how much money they have made in the past 4 fiscal years. The next rule in the contract is about continuous employment. An actor's employment begins with the start of rehearsals or required arrival date and ends when it is slated to end in the actor's contract. The actor's benefits will be determined based on the consecutive employment. The final rule
Rules, regulations, and respect.
I will discuss with you today deals with contracts. An actor cannot begin employment until a contract has been filed with equity. Equity determines what kind of contract a person receives. The theater must sign the contract first and then get it to the actor. The actor has 3 business days to sign and return the contract to the theater. Any changes to the contract once it has been signed must be approved by equity. Any equity member tries to breach their contract, the Council of Equity will discipline him accordingly. If a theater is found to have breached a contract, they must pay the actor in question 2 weeks' salary. Well, that's all I have to say about the first 15 rules of the LORT contract. It seems like the ultimate ending to most of those is, don't break any rule or you'll owe somebody money. But it's a little more convoluted than that. Because of the complicated nature of these rules, please direct any and all questions you may have to Allie. No, not video Allie, the Allie sitting in class next to you. It has been a pleasure to talk to you all today, and I feel so #blessed to have gotten this opportunity. Peace and blessings. Hill Dot out.